Welcome back to another episode of the Momentum Shift podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs and continuing to talk about it from our last episode. To begin, what are your thoughts on the Bucks Nets series and what's your prediction for Game 7 going forward?
Yeah, so obviously at this point we're at game seven. Uh, I think the Bucks pulled this one out honestly. So in both game six and game five, they had a pretty sizable lead. In game five, the Nets came back and won. In game six, they weren't able to, and like they came back. They came back. The Nets came back from that deficit in game five because of Kevin Durant's legendary night. But again, it's legendary because it doesn't happen every night. Like I don't think it'll happen. Uh,
Yeah,
like
I
I don't
agree.
expect them to be able to do that. It's kind of like how we saw the Lakers in the first round when like they just seemed so sluggish, especially in like game six, when they just like seemed so sluggish that they were able to in game six when they were an elimination game, they tried to come back and they almost like they were getting close to tying it up, but they just didn't have what it took. Whereas like the Nets in game five, again, they kind of have a bit more than the Lakers in terms of offense and just shifting the tide, but like even then, like it took a legendary performance for them to do it. So yeah,
Yeah, I think that with the Bucks, like their X factor is actually more like Chris Middleton than Giannis, and I feel like if Chris Middleton has a good game, they're pretty much gonna win because whenever he has a good game, it's just like a trend that the Bucks win. And I think the Bucks just seem like the more solid team going into Game 7. And I mean, obviously, if the Nets had Kyrie healthy and Harden more like himself, I guess he's still like not 100%. So then I think the Nets would win just because they're like firepower. I think they probably could be any team in the league with that amount of firepower. But as it stands right now, I think the Bucks are a more solid team. So I see them taking this one. What are your thoughts on the Hawks Sixers series going into Game 6?
the Hawks are losing the game seven or game six, right?
Yes, Hawks are winning three
Game
two.
six. I think the Hawks pulled this one out. This is two straight games. I think 18 and 26 point leads that they choked up. Like Embiid is playing trash in the second half of both games, and I think he started off like pretty good in game five. He started off 8 for 8 and was unstoppable in game six. Like I don't know how do you come back from that like mentally like when the Clippers were losing to the Mavericks were just like on fire from three. So uh yeah, to everyone else it seemed like Luka was like the superior player and the Mavs were a better team. But yeah, to be fair, they were on fire from three, like they couldn't miss. Like I don't think are the Hawks like do they have like that type of like rhythm where they just can't miss or something, or do they just like just win, like make some right plays and come back and win? Like they don't get lucky and or they don't get like extra lucky and make more shots and come back, right?
Yeah, and I think the fourth quarter is where it all comes down to the Sixers just don't have like Embiid isn't that X factor in the fourth quarter. He doesn't really show up when it matters most the last 5 minutes
He's
of the
like a
game.
Giannis or someone like you can't get the ball to him down low as easily, and then you can't create his own shots and do stuff like that.
Yeah, I think for the Sixers, I kind of agree with you about the Hawks winning this game because even one thing I'll say is the Sixers only had three all defensive players and they gave up 50 points in the last like 14 minutes to the Hawks, which
What?
like
Could you repeat that?
the Sixers have three all defensive players: Matisse Thybulle, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons. Out of the 10 all defensive players, like all defensive team, and they literally gave 50 points to the Hawks in the last 14 minutes. Like, and they scored like 14 in the 14 minutes, like not 14, like 20 something. And it was, I feel like it was just a big choke, and like I don't think they're able to come back from that. This kind of reminds me of that series last year with the Clippers and the Nuggets, where like I think the 76ers were looking ahead to the like Nets or the Bucks before even like looking at the Hawks, and like the Hawks are just gonna come and beat them. And the game's also in Atlanta, which gives them home court advantage. So there's a lot of things going right for the Hawks, and I think the Sixers made a mistake by not like taking. I don't know if I think they needed to shake up their team in the offseason as well. So let's see how it goes for them.
They really did mess up because like Ben Simmons like trade value was like much higher back then, and like a lot of teams aren't gonna be like he was considered like a young franchise cornerstone or things like that back in the regular season. But I think now like he's just considered like probably like an all-star caliber player. Like, not even like a true all-star. So like
It's more like what he basically was considered like Giannis's value, but now he's more like considered
no, but
Draymond Green's value.
Giannis was just better than him at everything. Like other than playmaking. So even playmaking, I don't think it's like that like different. Giannis is like pretty good, and Simmons isn't like elite. He's not like LeBron James or like Chris Paul playmaking. So he's nothing like spectacular. So
I mean,
I mean he's a good player, but if you have that big of a fatal flaw, like
yeah.
even like on something like defense, like bad players on defense, like Trey Young, I think was like the worst defender in the NBA last year or 2 years ago or something like that. But the Hawks, like this year, were able to just like cover that up by getting like other good shooters and stuff like that. Even someone like Seth Curry, who's like one of the best shooters in the NBA, and people like I don't know who else they have on that team that can shoot.
They have
Some like
Tobias
Turkish
Harris, Danny
guy,
Green. Yeah, Furkan
Danny
Korkmaz.
Green, Danny Green. Yeah, they have again, they're not the Nets when it comes to shooting, but they have a decent amount of shooters, and like maybe it's just also because of Embiid because he's not a shooter, but like you just can't hide Simmons down there, especially with like the free throws. Like there's absolutely nothing you can do to hide the
He
free throws.
shot he
You
shot
can
five of
hide the
14.
defense. You can hide the like relative lack of shooting, like with a LeBron or something. But like Ben Simmons is like so bad that like you leave him open, he won't make the shot.
Yeah, he's basically Draymond Green in my opinion. Right now.
I think
But
he's
like
probably worse because Draymond Green played like in that play-in game, what he did to Anthony Davis, especially like the first half, like most of the game was just like proof that like
yeah, maybe.
like
I mean,
he
I don't know. Yeah, I think Ben Simmons, like in an interview, he said that he said that he's right-handed, but his father made him shoot with his left hand when he was a kid, so he never really developed his jump shot or something like that. Now it's coming to bite him in the back because I think also when you're like that tall, when you play with other kids, like you just like drive every single possession, so you never really have to shoot. And then when you get older, you realize like how important your shooting is when everybody
everyone else
else.
is like
Yeah,
gets taller or something like that, and then you can't use that
yeah,
advantage.
because he also like played in Australia, right? It's like
That's what
imagine they're
happened
not
with
as
Anthony
tall.
Davis, like the opposite thing, because because he couldn't use like his height or anything like that. So he had like good dribbling and shooting. He's probably like the best at dribbling and shooting. Not the best. He's probably the best at like shot creation things like that for a big man. Like again, like this might even be a bad thing for him because when he plays the four, he thinks he's a shooting guard, but like and he tries to take like like step back 2 pointers and things like that.
That
But
that
like
that that's why he doesn't. That's why he doesn't play center. He plays like he hates playing center also because the teams always want to play center, but then I think he should play
but he
center, but then
should
he
like
ends up playing.
he has like no reason not to I get like the comfort thing like when you were younger you used to be a guard and power forward is closer to guard than center, but
But I
like
don't think I don't think it's viable for teams to have two big men out there, and his defense is good enough to play center. Like it's not like that's his issue. Like
what do you mean good enough? I think
I mean,
at least
way
last year he was the
way
best
too good
defender in the
enough.
whole NBA.
Yeah.
Like
Um. Yeah.
what do you think about the Clippers Jazz series?
So, um, I mean, after like after game 4, I mean, was it game 4? Yeah, after game 4, Kawhi Leonard was ruled out, and I was thinking like, oh, Jazz are gonna win this, but I still kind of, I mean, I thought the Clippers are gonna bring it close, but then, I think the Clippers are. Like I think the Clippers are gonna win Game 6 for sure because Donovan Mitchell is a game time decision. So even if he plays, I think he won't be as solid. And I feel like even in Game 5, Donovan Mitchell scored 22 points, which is like his worst game of the series, I think. And like it kind of just showed that he's like he's still like the backbone of that team, even though they're the number 1 seed. And if he doesn't have like that spectacular game, then the team's not gonna be able to pull it out. And I think also with Mike Conley being out, um, the Jazz like just aren't. And it's also
So
in
I'll
Los
give two
Angeles. The Jazz just
scenarios.
don't have.
I'll give you two scenarios for what's gonna happen. Like this is the more probable one that the Clippers will pull it out. At this point, they've won 3 straight games, and like last game, Paul George reminded like he's still an all-star type player. Like he's still a good player. So he like yeah, he reminded everyone, like that was playoff P, not pandemic P. And then the other like less probable scenario that I think could happen is Donovan Mitchell has like a masterpiece performance, like kind of like what Kevin Durant did, and he wins them the game. I think that also
Yeah, I
could
mean,
happen.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell has the potential to like every playoffs. You see him like stepping up, averaging. He's like third all time in NBA history in playoff points per game. Like he's like, and he's played like 20 something playoff games. Like it's not like 4 playoff games also. Like he shows that he really steps it up in the playoffs. And
He's third all
um,
time.
yeah, I mean he averages like 30. He has like 32 points per game or something, like 30 points per game in the playoffs. Like after like I don't know who's behind. I think it's like MJ and Kevin Durant, and LeBron's like almost tied with him for like fourth.
No, I don't think
I
any of
think
these guys average like 30 points per game.
I saw
You
this
can
out on
put him.
ESPN. But yeah, and then um, yeah. So I think he has the potential to, and I mean with Kawhi Leonard being out, like if Donovan Mitchell like ends up playing and has an amazing game, then yeah, I can see it happening. But imagine if Donovan Mitchell doesn't play. Do you think the Jazz have any chance of winning it?
No, I don't think they do. Like
Yeah, Rudy Gobert is kind of like the same guy where like he can be like this like really amazing presence in the regular season, but in the playoffs, like when people start to space the floor out more and stuff, like he's less effective
no,
because
he's still good. Like I remember like reading somewhere or watching a video where he became like a below average defender or something like that in the playoffs. I like watching him against like the Clippers. Like I think he's not below average, but he's not like obviously a defensive player of the year. I think like his defense like got worse in the playoffs than it did. Again, when I say got worse, it's still like good, but it's not like still great, but it's not like elite defensive player of the year level.
yeah, I mean I think this player of the year this year should have gone to Draymond, but that's another discussion. Um, yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the Suns Nuggets series?
Yeah, so Donovan Mitchell this year averages 31.6 points per game in the playoffs in 9 games.
That's pretty good because that's like consistently like I mean that's above 30. Like I don't think people realize how amazing 30 is because
Even
let's say
Kawhi
you have a
Leonard
15.
averages 30.4. Damian Lillard only played 6 games. He averages 34. Jokic is
Yeah.
20. Jokic is 30,
No,
and
but you
in
you can see like they only kind of like that one outlier game, right? Like if you know what I mean,
yeah, the 55.
where
But
he
you have to give him that. Like
yeah, but like but I'm saying like Donovan Mitchell's been consistently averaging around like 35 per game, and then he had like that one 22-point game, and he had
one
like I don't know.
45-point game or something like that. But you have to give him like the
Yeah.
outliers. Like Like
I mean,
you
yeah, I
don't
mean
you,
that outlier.
no,
Yeah.
he scored 55 in a game they needed. Like I guess you can ignore an outlier where like they're up by 30 in the first quarter and he only plays like 22 minutes or something like that, and then he ends up scoring like 15 because that's all the team needed. Maybe you can ignore that, but like you have to ignore the 55 because like even that 55 wasn't enough. They still lost.
Yeah. Wait, what are your thoughts on the Nuggets Sun series?
So what in the Nuggets Suns?
Yeah.
Like I mean, it was obvious they were overmatched. Like I think like this series was probably like a bit closer than like what a sweep like. I think like the games were like seemed a bit closer than like what they were like. I don't think like the Suns were like just that much better. Like even like maybe they were, but like I thought the Suns would win in like 5 or 6 games. But and I still think like especially if they got like the guy from Donovan Mitchell from last year, not Jamal Murray from last year, they would have been uh Suns would have won. The Nuggets would have won this, and they would have won this like by a significant like margin. I think they would have won this in 5 or 6 instead because like the Jamal Murray from last year was like unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but at the same time, we can't like I can't completely expect Jamal Murray to be like at that level. But I think if he was there, I think the Nuggets would have maybe won in like 6 or 7 games because I think the Suns are still a pretty solid team, but um, yeah, I mean the I feel like the Nuggets could have won a few of those games, and then Jokic got ejected one of the games, and I don't know. I think it was closer than the sweep suggests, but it was still like they're just outmatched because the Suns. Also a lot of people are giving like a lot more credit to Chris Paul, but I think the Suns have a really solid team around him, and
It's not Chris
they
Paul. Like he, I don't even think he's like the main force. I think it's just like the three factors. Chris Paul is one like main factor. Four, Devin Booker's like about equal if not greater factor, and they're all like they're like 3 and D type wings. They also play like a big role. Aiden's also
DeAndre
plays a
Ayton,
really big
yeah.
role. Their coaching probably also factors in.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns have like they also have Dario Saric, they have Cam Johnson who's having a good season. Like I don't know, I think there was good like solid. I mean, their starting lineup is just like insanely solid because they have five like good players like that are all defenders except for Devin Booker. Like I don't know, I think their team is built the right way, but then I feel like when they go up against a star-studded team like the Bucks or the Nets, I think they're not able to. I mean, even the Clippers, like I mean, especially with Chris Paul getting COVID, like he might be out for up to 2 weeks, and then plus
No, he
more
won't be out
because
for
he
two
might be.
weeks. I think he'll miss realistically he'll miss one game.
Yeah, but dude, when you have COVID, right? Like I think after he comes back, he still won't be like even if you saw Jason Tatum earlier in the year, he had COVID and he came back, and he wasn't like 100%. Like he wasn't putting up his solid averages until the end of the year, back to where he like could have been scoring, and I think
Yeah, but
Chris
Chris
Paul
Paul
still.
even like normally doesn't get you like many points. He'll get you like
I don't know. I think he won't be at 100%. I think he'll. I mean, when does the series start? So I think it starts
that's what I'm
in.
saying. If the Jazz force game 7, that would be like 3 days of extra rest.
Yeah, so that would probably be in like 6 7 days then. So I guess that is a lot of time. I think it depends. He's also
After
vaccinated, so
the
that
after
might
the
help him.
Jazz, after like the what they called uh Kawhi got injured and Chris Paul had like that thing. Uh it was something like the governor of Utah was like saying thank you basketball gods or thank you Lord or something like that. And like I think just as he did that, Donovan Mitchell got injured. So it was like
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if Utah wins this series, like I don't know. I think if Utah wins the series, it's their Western Conference Finals to lose. But then if the Clippers win, I think it'll actually be a more even matchup because of the fact that um if Chris Paul's out for 1 to 2 games, especially with those games being in Phoenix, if the Clippers can take one or two of them, the Clippers are really solid going forward. I think that'll be a good series. But I still think that
Chris
like
Paul wins the championship this year. My God.
that'll be crazy. But I think that like the Lakers Nets could be going to an end, and even though they're probably I mean I'm pretty sure they're the two best teams in the NBA if they're healthy. But I think that with them both being out, the playoffs will be a lot more uncertain, which kind of is more entertaining. But at the same time, you don't have your biggest stars in the league, I guess, like playing. So I don't know what the NBA thinks about that at the same time. It's kind of interesting.
What did you say? Can you repeat?
Oh no, I was just saying that from the NBA's perspective, like with the Lakers and Nets, they're like the league's biggest stars, right? So like it's probably the best matchup in the finals, but then going into the finals, it's like the most predictable matchup. So for the NBA, like with a more uncertain matchup, it could be more beneficial for them because it makes the Warriors more like interested in the sense that
Like
they
it's
don't know what's
it's
gonna
not
happen.
as fun. Everybody's injured.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like one thing I enjoy is the fact that the Lakers like last year I kind of just knew the Lakers were gonna make the finals from the beginning of the playoffs, and like I kind of predicted that. And this year, like, um, it's it's kind of interesting because I picked the I picked the like Clippers, I think, or the Jazz, and I don't even know who's gonna win this series. And even if they make it, I don't even know who's gonna win the next series. So it's just surprising for me because I have like no idea what's gonna happen. So that's the interesting part for me. But yeah,
It'd just be so bizarre if Chris Paul wins. Like I don't even know.
yeah. I mean, where do you think he's ranked all time in point guards if he wins? I say he's
I don't
fifth
think
or
he moves.
sixth.
I don't think he moves up or down or anything.
Yeah, I mean, see, like I think people kind of overrate a ring when like people kind of overrate a ring if you didn't make that big of an impact towards the ring, if that makes sense.
What?
Like let's say you have like this all-time great career, but you had no rings, and you're like 38 and you join a team, and you get that one ring, and people say, "Oh, he now has a ring, so he's like higher all time." But
I
like
think well, okay.
realistically, did you really?
A ring would mean a lot for him if you know like he went to the finals 4 straight years and he never won or something like that. Then capturing a ring would mean a lot for him. But he's still a Hall of Famer. He's still considered like a top five point guard or something like crazy like that. So like something like really high like that. So like how much like up is he gonna move? Is like one title enough to move him like ahead of people? Like he can't catch Magic Johnson or Steph Curry. He's too old to catch those guys. Like who else is like a good point guard? Like Isaiah
John
Thomas.
Stockton,
John
Isaiah
Stockton's like
Thomas, Steve
John
Nash.
Stockton never. He could move past like Steve Nash and John Stockton, but like
What about Jason Kidd?
or no one cares about Jason Kidd.
Yes, I think John Stockton is all-time leader in assists and steals, which are like the two
But he
stats that
doesn't
Chris
have
Paul
a
really.
he doesn't have a ring, so like he could go ahead
But
of
he's
him. He
he's
could go ahead
but
of.
he's in the like he made it to the finals before, so he
But
has
he
that
didn't
for him.
win. Like that's what matters, right?
I know, but if Chris Paul never makes it to the finals, then he's technically like if he loses the next series, then yeah, that would be. It's hard to
Well,
say, I guess.
not even like I felt bad for him in 2000 like in 2018 because like I genuinely felt the Rockets were a better team than the Warriors. And again, like I
Yeah,
get like it seems like like you're supporting the home team or something, but like they genuinely it's not a credit to like James Harden, Chris Paul specifically. I think like it was pretty much Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey. Like their game plan was so genius. Like we'll just get like great defenders, and we're gonna switch everything so that like so then that'll like tempt them to do ISOs. Like Steph Curry will try an ISO and Clint Capella and stuff like that. And Clint Capella is like a pretty good defender and things like that. The ISO and PJ Tucker, good defender, all those things. And then on offense,
Trevor Ariza.
The Warriors had Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and like Iguodala, and so such elite defenders. So forget like trying to actually like run offense like normal teams. We're just gonna take James Harden, who's the best scorer in the whole NBA, and tell him you go find Steph Curry and you give him buckets on your own. Like it was such a genius strategy.
Yeah, I think the Rockets like were built to beat the Warriors, and I mean they were up. I think without Chris Paul, they just kind of melted down in that game, but I don't know. It's tough to
And like
say.
they were so good that like it took them like 27 straight threes that they missed, and they still lost in single digits.
Yeah, and they had like so many NBA records that year. They scored. I think they won 65 games. It could have been even more. They lost like their last two or three.
Yeah,
It's
like they lost and it took like such a historic collapse against the greatest team of all time for them to lose by for them to lose by like 7 points or 8 points.
and then Trevor Ariza left. I think that's it'll be one of the most. Do you think it'll be one of the most forgotten teams of all time?
The
It might be.
2018 Rockets, maybe. I don't know because it was like a 1 year thing, but maybe,
See, but like I don't know. I think if they had won, it wouldn't have been a 1 year thing. If that makes sense.
maybe,
Was this is the year that before Harden dropped 36 a game, right?
yeah. But he
Because
did.
Chris Paul,
He averaged like he still averaged like 30
he
something
averaged
that
like 30.
like led the league.
Yeah, he had an MVP.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was his MVP year.
yeah. I guess kind of crazy how injuries. I mean, especially this season, it kind of just shows how injuries have derailed. Like LeBron, especially like for LeBron's like chase to the goat, like getting Anthony Davis injured and him also being injured, it kind of
He's
hurt him
too
in a big
old.
way.
Every year like matters.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get back like healthy enough, like if he's not like himself, he's already like lost. He won't be able to win a championship if he's not like the LeBron from last year.
Yeah, especially because if he has like a bad year, like Peyton Manning, like even the year in Super Bowl, he was just so injured. He was just like out of it almost. He
Which
was
one?
just
The Panthers one?
yeah, that year. Like so
But
he was just
he
like
didn't get
he was
carried.
injured.
He didn't
Yeah,
get
exactly.
carried. Like LeBron is the carrier. Like he's not. He doesn't get carried. He is the one who
No, but
carries.
I'm
So
saying let's say LeBron has one of those years where he just becomes so old that he just doesn't have um like he has a really bad year. That I think that might
but
hurt
then
his
he has to be
legacy.
like the third option.
Yeah,
I think like if the Lakers
I
get
just
like
can't imagine LeBron being a.
like again, it seems super improbable. I know, like 99% it won't happen. I think like everything has to go right. Damian Lillard has to say like I'm gonna. He has to do what James Harden did. He says I'm going to the Lakers and only the Lakers. If you trade me to any other team, I'm retiring or something like that. He has to like threaten to not play. Then the
I wonder if
Lakers
there's a no trade clause.
what
I wonder if he has a no trade clause.
probably does because I don't know. Even if he doesn't like uh like like which team would trade for him if he says I'm not gonna play there, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, Dan Lillard kind of has a good reputation, so it's hard to say. But
If he did
yeah, I
that,
mean,
like
if
if
he,
he did that, like so many like James Harden had a good reputation, but then he like kind of like tarnished that when like the way he handled things. Same with like Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard like was literally said nothing, but then he just like completely backstabbed the Spurs.
yeah, I mean, I think not playing that was just crazy to me for Kawhi Leonard. It's like part of
Both these
his,
guys did.
yeah. I think for the Trailblazers, I mean, honestly, they have to get rid of Damian Lillard because like they're always going to be that like 7 seed or like 6, 7, 8 seed
They're
type
no
team. They're
no
not really
longer.
going to make it.
There's no
Like
chance they.
even the year they made it to the Western Conference Finals, that
It
was
was a
kind of
fluke.
like a fluke
It was
because
a
they were on the
fluke.
easy side of the bracket. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
and
like
they beat the Nuggets
The
in
Rockets
7.
were there. The Rockets were there in that. And like honestly, it doesn't even matter if you like make the finals. Like the goal is to win the championship. Like they didn't have the Warriors didn't have Kevin Durant, and they still swept the war and they still swept the Trailblazers. And that's despite like
Even Clay was
Steph
out for
only
a game,
played like
right?
31 minutes a game that series.
I mean, even Kawhi had a fluke final win that year. I think. Like if the Warriors are healthy, I think. But yeah, that's another time. It's
I
another
mean,
story for
like
another time.
him making it all the way to the finals, you have to give him credit for that. And then yeah, it took some luck, but like I think every year it takes some luck, right?
Yeah, but like,
Some
yeah, I
extent.
guess.
Like in 2018, for example, I think the Warriors got lucky that Chris Paul got injured. Like not as lucky as Kawhi, because like Kawhi had like a 5% chance at best of winning that finals, but like I think the Warriors had like a 45% chance of winning without Chris Paul.
No, but one thing I don't like is when
With Chris
people
Paul.
like. I mean, but before last year, LeBron's first 3 rings weren't like Mickey Mouse rings. They were like really tough wins, especially like the Cavs series against the Warriors. I feel like
I don't even think the
people
last
was like, "But
one was a Mickey Mouse ring. Like I think Mickey Mouse just like started off as like the Disney thing. I think this year, whoever wins, literally anybody, this should be like a true Mickey Mouse ring.
yeah."
Like,
But
'cause last year, who was injured? Like pretty much nobody was injured.
I mean, Klay Thompson was injured. The Nets were injured.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I don't really remember, but I don't know. I thought somebody else
So
was.
this
But
year, Klay
honestly,
Thompson is injured. But this year, Klay Thompson is injured as well. So that's pretty much like a non-factor. That was there last year and this year. So that kind of gets like canceled out, I guess, if we're comparing both. Like, yeah, the Nets were injured, but the Nets were a super team. So like, and even then, they're injured this year. Like, Harden's missing games. He's what's his name?
sorry.
Kyrie's gonna miss a few games. Embiid is injured, but like at this point, Embiid gets injured a lot so much that like it shouldn't even count. He's able to go 8 straight from the field and stuff like that, and then choke. So I don't know if you count Embiid's injury or something like that. I think the Hawks lost like a few players, but like nothing too significant. Maybe we don't count that. And then on the Western side of things, Jamal Murray wasn't there. I think like this might have been the Nuggets year if they were able to catch a break with the Nuggets with the Nets injuries. And like if Jamal Murray was there, I think they would have won the championship. As things currently
Really?
stand, yeah.
Dang. I don't know about
As
that.
things
I think the
currently
Bucks are still
stand,
better than them.
like as of right now, like the what's it called? The Nets are injured, the Lakers are injured, all that stuff. If these
I think the
teams,
Bucks are still better than them, though, for sure.
even the Bucks
But
lost
yeah,
somebody, but like okay, nothing, no one like too important,
yeah,
but like
Dante DiVincenzo.
yeah,
Yeah.
decent contributor, I guess.
Will
Um,
Barton's also injured for the Nuggets, actually.
yeah, that was their starting backcourt. They were heavily injured. The Lakers were injured out of their minds. They didn't have Anthony Davis. He was out on one leg. and then LeBron wasn't fully healthy.
LeBron was still really healthy. I mean, really unhealthy. You could see him when he was
Kawhi
playing. He
Leonard,
didn't really look.
Kawhi Leonard has like an ACL problem now.
Yeah,
Like everybody's injured at this point.
yeah.
Just
All right. Moving on. What are your thoughts on the Kemba Walker trade? So it was him and a first round pick for 2025 second round pick and Horford and another second round pick. So two second round picks enough. Horford actually.
I think like I don't even like. I think it was kind of a win-win for both teams. Like
Also, but one more thing. Kemba Walker's contract is 2 years 74. I'm not really sure how Horford's contract is, but yeah.
you can search it up like when he signed it, and then
All right, let's see. Yeah.
back the years. Just search up how many years he has left. Like I don't know, open up 2K or something. I don't even know.
I think it's I think it's 2 year 50 left.
Yeah,
2 year
so like
52 left.
12 million less, right? 11 million less.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I guess the Celtics were able to get some like free up some money, which would be like a pretty big deal for them. I think they need like a few more pieces to so that they can actually compete for title. Um, the Thunder just got another first round pick. Like, I guess I don't know. Kind of a win-win, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. I think Al Horford also fits their team better because I don't think they need a guard. They need a center. But then Kemba puts up 19 points per game. Al Horford puts up 14. So I mean, on that sense, if you want more scoring, you got that. But at the same time, I think they have enough scoring if their two stars can stay healthy. I think it's more about maybe the defense that Al Horford brings. And but one other side you can look at it is
I
that
don't think Al Horford
uh,
would bring them too much value. Like,
yeah, I
I
think it's more
think
about the
I
money.
think it was addition by subtraction, kind of. They traded like if you consider Kemba Walker a negative asset, I think I would be given his contract. Same with Al Horford. Like they're not like terrible players, but like they're not worth as much as they're being paid. Like Kemba's more overpaid than Al Horford, so like they traded like a bigger negative asset for like a smaller negative asset, kind of.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I guess it's just a win-win, and I think the Thunder are just taking on as many first-round picks as they can get. But honestly, I don't. If I was a Thunder, I don't think it would like. I don't think I would use those picks because they're not gonna be like high picks. They're trading them to like these good teams. I think what they should do is try to package them for a star or like or trade them for like one
I think you have to use like they have to use like
top
their
pick.
own pick or something like that and draft like their franchise guy. And then once they get their franchise guy, they have to get like secondary stars. Kind of
Yeah,
like what the
or
Lakers did, kind of pretty much exactly what the Lakers did, except they won't have the luxury of signing somebody. So they'll have to draft like that number one guy.
yeah,
Yeah, so they draft that number one guy, that like franchise guy, like that Trey Young or Luca or whatever you want to call it, and then they trade for a superstar or star.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough being in their position because I mean, if they can get that one huge guy, then they can actually get some people around them, like kind of like a Giannis. But it's really hard to get that. Like
Well,
once you
what the
get that,
Bucks or the Nuggets did, like, and it should be like theoretically easier for them because their own pick will be like top five probably, right? Almost certainly top five, given how
yeah. I mean, one other thing they could do is just they have like I don't know when they have that. I think they have like let's see how many first round picks they have. I'm guessing they have double digits, right? So let's say they use like 3 or 4 of them and they trade up for like a top 5 pick. That's another way to get like a really high draft pick, and that might be their best chance, I guess.
would it take 3 or 4? Because like these picks, like how bad are like who are they getting picks from? Like they have a few Rockets picks; those will be valuable. The Celtics pick is like reasonably valuable. It's like mid first round. Like where are they getting these picks from?
Let's see. So they have 18 first round picks and 18 second round picks in the next 7 years. So
You need to trade 10 of those.
they have a Warriors pick in 2021. Wait, they have the Warriors pick? Oh no, it's top 20 protected. Okay. They have the Miami Heat or Houston Rockets pick. They have Boston Celtics pick. They have Thunder pick. They have Nuggets pick. Dang, that's a lot of picks. And then 2022, they have the they have like these Clippers picks from the Paul George trade, and they have Suns picks, Heat picks, Nuggets picks, Mavericks picks. They're pretty like contender picks except for the Hornets and the Wizards. I think all the other picks are from
Hornets
contenders.
and Wizards picks could be like valuable.
I mean the Hornets picks in 2024, which means that I think Charlotte will already be better because they'll have LaMelo. Like I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah.
The problem is they're trading these guys to like good teams, so they're not gonna get like the best picks back unless it's like a 2025 or 2026 where these teams become older, right? So I don't know.
The Clippers pick will be like really valuable by then, I think, if they have like 2025, 2026 players.
Yeah, this is actually talking about the Clippers. If Kawhi tore his ACL, that'll be really bad for his like contract situation, maybe unless he resigns with the Clippers.
No,
Because
they won't.
so
Didn't
you,
Kevin Durant get the max?
you think he's gonna get the supermax? Actually, yeah, I think he will too.
He will. It's like it's a risk you have to take. Like without Kawhi Leonard, like no team is winning without a player like that, right?
Yeah, I think you have to have one of those guys to like
If you
make
don't
it
have a
there.
top five player, you can't win. Simple as that. Or maybe like this year, if Chris Paul wins or something, then it's like a Mickey Mouse, like type thing. But like,
Yeah,
but like in a normal scenario, you can't win with like a top five without a top five guy.
yeah. I mean,
So that's
I
why
can only think
that's
of
why
like
Kevin
six,
Durant
seven, eight
was a
guys.
no brainer. Like yeah, everyone knew he tore his Achilles. It was like dangerous, all that stuff. But like,
They have to take the chance, and they're also getting sick ticket sales. I don't know.
and
Like,
you have to take the chance. Like there's like, you can't win without him. So why would you like not do it if you have the opportunity? Where he's like, okay, I want to sign with you guys. You have to take it.
yeah. Also, like taking one of these guys means you're also taking them away from another team. Almost like it's so worth it, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah, if they say we're coming to you, then you have to say yes. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like even if like someone, if you even if you don't have the money or something to trade him, you still have to like trade away and make room for them. Like what the Warriors did. I mean, they like let go of like Harrison Barnes, and they like I don't know, they lost like some depth in to bring in Kevin Durant. You just have to do it.
yeah. Because no matter how much like your 3 and D type guys are, like that one superstar is what makes the difference in the playoffs, even if it doesn't seem that way in the regular season. Because when it comes down to the playoffs, it's all about those 5 starters that you have on the court that are gonna take you there, I guess. So having Kevin Durant just makes that difference, like you said, pretty much.
Well, could you repeat that, please?
No, I was just saying, like when it comes down to the playoffs, it's all about the 5 guys you have on the court. It's not about the bench or the 15 guys on your roster. So you have to do whatever you can to get the 5 best players possible when it comes down to the playoffs. And getting that superstar like Kevin Durant is gonna be like
I
the
mean,
X factor
simply
that
put,
you
it's a
need.
no-brainer.
What?
Simply put, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything else you want to add?
Not really.
Okay, all right then. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Momentum Shift podcast, and we'll catch you in the next one.